Guys, I do not kid you. This is not a joke. This build came to me in an epiphany while I was watching anime with my niece. And therefore, I bring to you the the Incinerator build, which involves the Great Axe and the Fire Staff. Wait, what? BDubz, Great Axe and Fire Staff? This makes no sense. It sounds a touch insane. Well, yeah. Well, but guys, let's get into this. We've done Great Axe builds already. You might be familiar with our Feral Lumberjack build that we've already done. And we've done a build very similar to that here. We're practically doing the exact same thing with the exact same strategy in mind. The only problem that I had with the Feral Lumberjack build was that once we closed the gap, performed our Maelstrom, and then did the gravity well, we really had no way of following up. We had no way of really applying significant damage beyond what we've already done. So we were stuck with doing light attacks and light attack rotations, and that's fine, and you could do a lot of damage that way, or maybe switch to your hatchet, pop berserk, and go wild. You could do that with the Feral Lumberjack build, but quite frankly, if I take the time to run up to you, kindly position your body on top of mine, and then get you to stay there for a while, I kind of want you to then promptly die afterwards, and I just didn't feel like the Feral Lumberjack had that immediate burst damage punch that I would have liked to see. Now, that being said, the Feral Lumberjack build has way more damage from the Great Axe than this build will. Why is this? Well, this is because this build is an intelligence-based build, because we're not trying to do damage with the Great Axe. The purpose of the Great Axe is simply to close the gap, grab the bad guys, and stick them inside of a gravity well so they could stay there for one purpose and one purpose only: to get destroyed by the single most damaging ability in the game: Incinerate. Incinerate packs a wallop. It will kill. If it doesn't kill with the initial 2 hits of the ability fully upgraded, it will kill with the dot. But don't worry, we have insult to injury, because after the Incinerate, we're going to drop a fireball at our feet, so they get a direct hit from it, and they also take the damage over time while they're still trapped in the gravity well, and then we're going to burn out through them. And if that doesn't kill them, we'll hit them with some heavy fire staff attacks to finish them off. It should kill them, though. They should be thoroughly deadened by the time the entire rotation has been completed. If that doesn't get your heart pumping and your blood kindled with fire, well then, I don't know what will. But this Incinerator build is, in my opinion, amazing. Let's get into the skills, the abilities, and the passives. Now, we've been through the Great Axe before, but since this video would be incredibly short without it, we'll go ahead and break down all the abilities yet again. We're going to start with the charge. The charge is a 10-meter rush. It does 120% weapon damage when you reach the target or press the left mouse button. Then you have Frenzied Momentum, which now charge does more damage based on distance traveled. And then we have the Unpredictable Strike, where during charge you may press right mouse button to execute a swing attack, dealing 140-165 weapon damage based on how far you have traveled. Really nice and neat. This is a big-time gap closer. With 2 gap closers on this build, charge and burnout, you're going to have no problems getting in and getting out. You're going to be incredibly maneuverable. With this thing set on a 20-second cooldown, plus your Bloodlust, which lets you move 30% faster, you're pretty much going to be able to close gaps, get out, run away, burn out, come back, charge back in, and just keep up that pressure. And people are going to have a hard time catching you. This is one of the fastest builds in the game. The only other thing you might do that could get you this fast is maybe put a rapier with a great axe, but that makes absolutely no sense. It just doesn't. Send me your rapier great axe builds, please. I want to see them. No, seriously, if you have one, let me see it, because I'm curious how that would work. I don't think it would, but I'm curious to see somebody give it a shot, at the very least. But in any case, wait. No, I know how to make a great axe rapier work. Oh. Okay, future build. It'll be a meme build for sure, but I think I can make it work. All right, never mind. Let's move on. Let's focus on this build right now. All right, so here we go. We have Greed. I'm sorry. That's it for this side of the tree as far as abilities and the ultimate is concerned. Next, we have the Maelstrom. Now, I know many people will say, but BDubz, Reap is the meta. It is, if you're in heavy armor. If you're not in heavy armor and you have no problems closing gaps and you have all the maneuverability in the world, which you do, then Maelstrom's fine. It's about a 4-meter radius pull, and it pulls everybody in, which is what you want. It's far easier to hit because it's a 360-degree area of effect. It's a radius around you, it pulls everybody in, so you don't have to worry about aiming it. You just have to be standing on top of the guy or near him, and it will pull him in. Very, very good. We can extend this reach by 50%, getting it to about 4 meters. And then we consume all projectiles while Maelstrom is active, protecting you from rending throws or infected throws or any other type of hazardous material that is headed your way. Very, very good. And then no reprieve, you hit twice. So now you're hitting for a total of 220% weapon damage. Very good. With the help of the gravity passive, the foes will be held 30% longer, enabling you the opportunity to properly use gravity well, which at this point, since they're all pulled in, you literally just throw the gravity well at your feet, and it's a guaranteed hit. They are trapped. Now, I've seen way too many people try using gravity well to stop somebody from running away. You don't need that. You have charge and you have bloodlust. They can't run away from you. And since you're in light armor, did I mention that this is a light armor build? This is a light armor build. You can also wear medium with this build if you so desire. We'll talk about the different armor classes later. But since you're in light armor, you have no problems dodge rolling and keeping up with your enemy. You should have no problems whatsoever. So using gravity well to stop somebody from running away sounds like a poor use of resources. Instead, we only use the gravity well after we've successfully trapped a target or multiple targets with the Maelstrom. So once you hit the Maelstrom, you hit the gravity well, and then we switch to our fire staff. You hit the Incinerate. This will hit twice. So you're dealing 260% direct damage right away, and it knocks all enemies back. So now not only did they get pulled away, they get pulled towards you, but now you're knocking them back, which they'll just get pulled right back under your feet, right? But now they're knocked down. So they're not hitting you anymore. They're not fighting back. They're not running. They're not doing anything. They're just laying on the ground having the worst of days. Like, literally, ask them after you're through, how's your day going? Like, seriously, you can message the people who you fight. Just ask them, how's your day going? I'm sure they'd kind of get a kick out of that or be very upset at you. Be nice, though, okay, guys? Be nice. And then you're going to throw the fireball at your feet and burn out through them. Skills. 260% weapon damage. Each hit of Incinerate will generate an additional stack of burning, meaning that the burn that we are dealing to the target with the Incinerate will now stack up to 4. Why? Because each attack does 2 stacks of burning. So now we have 4 stacks of burning. 4 stacks of burning, each dealing 3% weapon damage for 6 seconds. Now, this doesn't sound all that impressive, but trust me, it is. Because this is actually going to be, 3, 6, 9, 12 times 4? 48% burning damage over that period of time. Really nice. Did I do that right? I think so. I think so. And then we're going to restore 20% of the damage dealt by Incinerate. So if they're hitting you while you're casting Incinerate, you don't need to worry about it. It's fine. You'll get that health back. Okay? Very handy. And then naturally it hits twice. Very good passive. For the Fireball, you'll notice we did not take Catch. This is because Catch is worthless. Though we are doing a direct hit with the Fireball, it'll give us 10% of our max mana back, and it'll reduce our Fire Staff cooldowns by 7%. Now, this sounds really nice. I get it. Maybe it's a good perk, but I'm not sure what I'm willing to give up for it. Because we have other ways of sustaining our mana, and we have other ways of reducing our cooldowns. So I'm not really all that concerned about Catch. We're already doing that through other means, and I'll show you. We can heavy attacks will reduce your Fire Staff cooldowns by 10% on hit, and not only that, but heavy attacks restore 5% of your max mana on hit, and not only that, but heavy attacks no longer consume mana. So we really don't need Catch, because I need these three passives, and I don't know what other passives I'm willing to give up. So my Fireball direct hits give me some mana and cooldown reduction. So no, we're not going to take Catch. We have better ways of getting our mana and our cooldowns down. Okay, we have better ways of doing that. We're not taking this passive. But we are going to take the Burning Field persisting for 9 seconds, because this enables us to use the Fireball for zoning, to prevent people from going into certain areas, or if they do, they'll have a burn on them. Very handy, very useful in situations where you need to deny access to areas, maybe a control point, maybe a walkway or a bridge, or if someone's going to follow you, you want to punish them for it. Very handy. We definitely want that. And then, of course, naturally, the Fireball itself deals 140% weapon damage. Awesome. And then, of course, it leaves a Burning Field that lasts for now 9 seconds, which does 10% weapon damage for each second. Now, is someone going to stand in that Burning Field for 9 seconds? No, probably not. But if they're having a particularly bad day, or maybe the knockdown and the stun and all the stuff you did to them in the gravity well just really gets them trapped in there, and they're just struggling to get out of it because you burned out through them and the whole 9, right? Yeah, they might actually soak up a lot of that damage. This really does improve the efficiency of our Fireball. Gives us a lot of good damage. And then finally, the final part of the rotation. Here we are doing Burnout. Burnout. Dash through the target, dealing 129% weapon damage on hit. Passing through the target will catch the target on fire, applying a burn that deals 10% weapon damage each second for 8 seconds. This costs 30 mana, not too bad, and has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Then Fire Staff cooldowns are reduced by 5% for each foe hit by the Burnout. Handy this! The Burnout, since we're not using it to close the gap, but rather as an attack and to give us space after doing this damage, right? Our other abilities should be on cooldown, and so this cooldown reduction should apply to anybody who gets hit by it. And then finally, Burnout goes 50% further. Very, very handy. So the way this overall strategy works is we close the gap, Maelstrom, pull them in, Gravity Well, Incinerate, Fireball at the feet, burn out through. If they're not dead, I'm shocked. But we still have a plan. We're going to use our heavy attacks. Heavy attacks only. They won't cost you any mana, and in fact, they will restore your mana with this build, as we've already covered, and they will reduce your Fire Staff cooldowns by 10% on hit. Very, very strong synergy here on the heavy attacks. We want to do only heavy attacks if we can help it. Next up, well, above 50% mana, you gain 10% Empower with Clear Mind. Well, when you do your Incinerate, you should be at max mana. When you do your Fireball, you should have more than 50% mana. So that's a straight 10% Empower to both of these skills. Very strong. And it's so long as you're only using heavy attacks, if you decide to do any chip damage before closing the gap, you shouldn't have spent any mana at all. And if the only thing you're doing is heavy attacks, then you'll always have a 10% empower. This is really good. Next, we have Spellslinger. Your abilities gain an extra 15% chance to crit. Nice. Nice. And this is for your abilities. We desperately want Incinerate to crit. Anything we can do to get the Incinerate to crit is a very, very good thing, and we're going to have a very, very good day because of it. Yes, we want that crit. Next, Prophet of a Fire God. While holding your fire staff, your critical strike damage is increased by 20%. So now we have a higher chance of critting with our abilities, and when we do crit, we're going to get 20% additional crit damage. Definitely propelling Incinerate into crazy amounts of damage territory. This thing will hurt you, and you will not feel good about it. And then you can laugh afterwards at whatever poor sod it was that thought they could fight you. It's pretty great. Then, while holding a fire staff and below 50% max health, damage is increased by 20%. Huh. I didn't have a choice here. I don't usually like builds that give us damage increases when your health is below a certain amount, though this is pretty helpful. In this particular case, the reason why it's pretty helpful is that chances are your enemy is going to want to try to hit you while you're closing the gap and getting them. And when you get them stuck in the gravity well, a smart player who doesn't have some type of escape, such as flesh can get out of a gravity well pretty easy. Or a burnout, if they don't have those two tools at their disposal, then they're going to fight you. And that's fine. They're going to fight you. With this perk, at least if they fight you and if they drop you below 50% max health, that just simply increases the damage of your Incinerate. Yay. Which then means you get more healing, because you restore 20% of the damage dealt by Incinerate. So, not a bad one. It's just, if I could pick another, I probably would. Next one, Let It Burn. Whenever burn deals damage, gain 10% fortify for 2 seconds. This is incredibly helpful. Because after your Incinerate goes out, again, they'll be knocked down. You'll be okay. You got to do your fireball, and then you got to burn out there afterwards. But having some fortify on you at some point during this process will at least protect you from people who did not get trapped by the gravity well, and give you a little bit of protection there. It's not a lot, but a little bit. We definitely didn't take heat up because you shouldn't really be blocking with your fire staff. Next, Kindle. Burning lasts 20% longer. So since we're applying all this burn, we're going to want this burn to really last. And then finally, combat speed. When you activate a fire staff ability, gain 10% haste for 5 seconds. This is strong. Mobility when either of your weapons are out is incredibly helpful. It helps you close gaps. It helps you get out. It helps you dodge. This is really good. And we're particularly going to be wanting that combat speed after an Incinerate, Fireball, and Burnout rotation. We're going to go through that whole thing, and then we get a little bit of movement speed, maybe giving us the ability to dodge and weave a little bit and pop a potion if we need it. Okay? So overall, I think this is the ideal build. We get mobility. We get the ability to chase down any target. We get 2 excellent gap closers. But there's 2 more things we need to consider. 1, what armor class? We talked about this a little bit earlier. But what armor you wear is dependent on what you want to do. Okay? I personally think it's dependent on your personal skill level. This build can work for both medium and light armor. The medium will increase all of your pull holds by 10%. That includes the pull from the Maelstrom. That includes the pull from Gravity Well. That also includes the duration people are knocked down from your Incinerate. And since you have a lot of CC in this particular build, we're really going to want to make sure that, we actually have the option of wanting to improve that. Having the medium armor, though, will also take away 10% damage that you would have gotten a full 20% damage bonus with the light, right? But now you're only getting a 10% damage bonus at medium, but you also lose your dodge roll. Do you need a dodge roll to keep up and catch people? The answer is no, you really don't. Can you get away with medium and still pursue and pull with Maelstrom? Yeah, yes you can. The light armor really is for somebody who has mastered this rotation, who is able to dodge appropriately, and who is looking for that 10% damage edge. So if you have mastered this rotation and you're able to pull this off correctly, then I would go for the light armor. If you're struggling with learning this rotation, but you really want to nail it, go with the medium armor. And finally, since this is an intelligence build and you're using an axe, you would be well served to put an ignite or some type of arcane damage gem into your weapon. This will scale up to 50%, right? Some of your damage with intelligence. This will increase the damage that your axe does. And for added style, make sure it's ignite. Because how else are you going to pull off your Escanor cosplay without an axe that's literally on fire? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Incinerator build. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out some of the other builds that we have on the channel, be sure to check out the playlist that is in the description down below, as well as in the end card of the program. Also, if you want to bring me your build ideas, or maybe you'd like a build review, stop on by and hang out with us for the live streams we have over on Twitch. You can come find us on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Now, naturally, as New World comes out, we'll be streaming way more than that. We already do, quite frankly. But that is a great place where you can find me live and send me your builds and tell me what you guys think about some of the things that we're doing here with these builds. That being said, guys, thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe. This is sort of a brand new channel for me. And yeah, I'd like that because I need friends. So yeah, subscribe. See you guys next time. You have a good one.